Hello, everybody. I'm Natalie. This is Life After a Cult. Actually, this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Welcome. If this is your first time to my channel, I talk about my 35 years in Scientology, growing up in it, being in the Sea organization. I also chat about what has the internet buzzing in terms of Scientology news. And most importantly, I talk about how I left with 3 generations of my family. Today, I'm very excited, not just because you are all here with me. Hello to everybody in the chat. And if you're catching this on the replay, hello to you as well. Jump in, participate. Let me know where you're watching from, what you think about everything, any questions, stuff like that. This is interactive, the whole thing. Even if you aren't catching the live, it is interactive. And I'm excited today to be able to chat with someone who's become one of my heroes as of late, who has also made me cry multiple times, including the other day. And that is none other than Lara FM. I think you're muted. Can I unmute you? No,
Hi.
there we
Yes.
go.
Hi, guys. Yes.
This
Wow,
is
wow.
This is so great. I'm so excited to finally meet you somewhat, not in person yet, but here
Mhm.
online.
Mhm.
Before I forget, is your dad from Boston?
No, Canada.
Canada. Okay. When I was
Toronto, Canada.
training, there was a Phil Anderson that I met, but I thought he was from Boston. Not 100% sure. I'd have to
Where
see
were
a
you
photo.
training?
I think it was when I was training in LA on the in their, the TTC program.
What year?
86, 87.
Oh, I was born in 1986. And
86,
he was
87.
just leaving Canada. No, I don't know. I have no idea. I was born in 86 and then he came with my brother and sister a little bit after that from Canada. So
Yeah, maybe
I
not.
know
Maybe not.
he was in the LA orgs and all that during, 86 and 87 and in the Sea Org down here in Los Angeles at that
Yeah,
time.
so I probably crossed paths with him because it's such a small world, but I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly. This one guy keeps popping into my head, so I'm gonna have to. If you have a photo of him, maybe later you can text it to me.
Yeah. Of my dad.
Yeah, because I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know. Now,
I have one on the other side. I can get it. Should I grab
okay,
it really quick?
yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. I'll be right back.
All right. Good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit that subscribe button. I am on a mission to hit that 10,000 subscriber mark this week because my partner Tony will be forced to join for a live stream. And I think it's happening sooner than he thought it would. So super exciting. I appreciate all of your help. I should too. I'm going to pull up Laura's channel. I thought I had it pulled up there. We can share it too. Thank you to my mods for helping out today. Been keeping you busy.
Oh, this was probably meant to be that I pulled this out. Uh-oh. This is already like, oh, my childhood. What happened? Okay, so this is a funny thing. This is a Walmart photo that we did. But, oh, great. My stupid light. That's my dad at the top.
Oh, okay. He
But
does
he's
look
older now.
He does look a little familiar, and it's definitely not the guy I was thinking about, but he does look familiar to me. Is that you?
And that's my mom.
Oh my gosh, your mom looks like a baby. Wow. Wow. So your dad is still in the Sea organization. Your mom is where?
My mom is at Gold Base. That's her. This is kind of how oh gosh. This is
Gosh, it's
kind of
great.
how my dad is.
That's
No,
cute.
that was still a while ago. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I'm trying to find a more recent one because obviously when he was running down the street when I saw him.
Yeah, it was different. It's
Yeah,
so
these are
great
my
that you
ranch
have these
photos.
photos.
Yeah, these are the only ranch photos that I have.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
most of them my mom took because, she was really into photography and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also, that it was like her PR for the family. Oh, I got to smile. I can't send these. You guys look like you're not having a good time. Smile. It'd always be like, make sure that the PR for Scientology looks good through our family.
Exactly. And here is Laura's page. So everybody can head over there. If you're not already subscribed to her channel, it's Lara FM. And there you can see it.
Thank you. Yay.
Yeah, we will.
I was at 6. I didn't look at it, but I just saw just now that when you went over there last night, I'm drinking my smoothie, guys. Last night, when I went to bed, that I was like, there was like 6,000, like 500 followers. And I woke up this morning and it was 7,000. And now I just saw it and it's 7,200. So
That's awesome. That is fantastic. And no doubt it's because you have been up to all kinds of things. I've been following this. You've been joining the Squirrel Squad, as they're kind of being called, out in LA, protesting Scientology, live streaming, but you have really brought this heart. You're bringing knowledge that they didn't have to. I feel like it does two things. It helps them to understand who they're talking to, because you share so much about what the rules are in Scientology and why they might react this way, and even things that people can say about it. And most of all, and this is something why I wanted to talk to you so much, because you've made me cry so many times. And it's because of your capacity to have compassion and empathy when most people would not. And specifically, maybe we'll start with the incident that happened the other day with a Scientologist and what happened and your response to it. And then I want to talk more about that. Does that sound good?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. I
will
mean,
pull.
everything connects. So it's just like, we can talk about this old guy doing this and what happened, but this is the mentality, the structure of not just the elderly, but even the youngers and the security and everybody being like, oh, good. What a good job. He didn't react, but he definitely scared her. He had to, it's our view is, oh, that guy was so nice, protector of ants, comes running. That just was this like, oh, good. Yeah. Get off before I turn into an ugly person you don't want me to be. Get away from me quick. But the mentality, I guess, is what is the hard part here for me. You'll see, I actually genuinely was going into this with like, whoa, kind of wondering like, hey, maybe he'll talk to me because I hear him arguing. And
Yeah,
it was kind of
you
like,
hear that.
I kind of went into it like, hey, that seemed a little H&R. Maybe he's mad and he'll talk to me about it or something. Or he'll be
Yep.
like, well, they won't let me out and I don't understand why or something. I thought he was going to come out like that, but
Yeah.
obviously you'll see it was
You got something else. And I pushed it back a bit so we can hear, and you can definitely speak over it if because sometimes it's hard to hear off in the distance.
Yeah.
But here's the video from what happened the other day.
Which doesn't matter because I did bring my speaker this time and I will be playing my music if there's any issue with them turning up their music out here. But look at this. Completely empty, guys. All these fresh, sanitized tables ready. Nobody out here on this religious day of Scientology. They don't know what to do with this, and then more people are starting to get this. They're starting to come out, talk about it more, not feel so afraid. Okay, so stop.
Yeah.
I already heard something going on. You guys didn't hear, but already I hear something. I hear some like, no, or something. And you can kind of hear that right here.
I could hear that. Do you think that he was arguing maybe with security about whether he was allowed to leave the building or not?
100%. And that he's annoyed of these SPs and watch me, I'll go out and probably annoyed about something. I think it was a mixture. He's handling something with himself mentally or thinking he's handling it with Scientology garbage and being frustrated with that. And then having, a younger security guard or somebody telling him he can't go outside. It's like, excuse me, this isn't Scientology and F those SPs. It was something like that.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So he's coming out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sounded very H&R-y.
And for those who don't know, that means human emotion and reaction. It's something we ex-Scientologists, but in Scientology, you would use to reference somebody getting very emotional.
Yeah. And you can see he's walking.
That all about?
He's walking away. He notices I'm here and he should have been walking, on the sidewalk, but he's just walking like trying to avoid me, but doesn't probably know what to do now. And I'm going, what's that all about? And he has to walk by me. What was that all about?
He
Whoa.
flips you off.
See, don't
Yeah.
assault me.
Why not?
If you
I
do,
could,
you're being
why
dumb.
not?
Yeah. Why not? Which is really weird.
On the lot,
I know
thousands
that.
of people. Don't touch me.
I'm
Don't
not
touch
I'm
me.
not touching you.
Don't touch me.
I'm not touching you.
Everybody.
So tell me, was because it's not completely clear, can you tell me in your words what was physically happening there?
He was shoving his body into me and slamming his hat on my forehead. And so I was turning the phone around and I obviously was like, don't touch me. And he kept doing that. And then obviously he was like saying, why not? Or whatever. And then I said, and then as I was turning the phone around to tell him, because I have people watching and you can't do that. I was kind of like, oh my God, this is a Sea Org Scientologist or whatever. He's not a Sea Org member, I can tell, but he's a Scientologist deeply, and he has been. And he doesn't know that what he's doing is actually an assault. So what I was trying to tell him is like, don't touch me. You can't but I'm like, oh, he doesn't get it. So I keep saying it. And then so I'm turning the camera to tell him there's people watching, and he smacks the camera out of my hand. And I caught it because I kind of saw his eyes. I could see his eyes like going to the camera. And I've obviously had this situation where my camera got whacked out of my hand before because of this same type of attitude of, the law is not important. Yeah, I should assault you. You're a suppressive. I could do anything to you because it's the greatest good for Scientology.
Exactly. And L. Ron Hubbard has policy specific about suppressive people and squirrels and how they can be fair gamed. You can pretty much do anything, even violate the law, because they've been declared a suppressive person. And they try to say that, no, we canceled fair game a long time ago. And in my opinion, you tell me, Laura, what you think. You can really tell the Scientologists who've been around since the Guardian days. And the Guardian's
100%.
office became the Office of Special Affairs. But that dirty trick mentality of actually harming people seemed to stick with some of them. And that's like the vibe that I was getting from this guy.
Yeah.
All right, I'll hit play.
Don't touch me.
Get
Do
the
it
fuck
again.
out of her
Don't
face.
touch him.
You
Don't
get out of
touch
her
it.
face. You don't
So
fucking
he
touch
just
her, dude.
assaulted me and
What the
touched,
fuck are you
bashed
thinking?
my
Huh?
camera.
What do you think? You
AOLA. And this is me.
He has a
yelling,
backpack
catching-
that says AOLA, and it's an old backpack. So it's
Mm.
just, and his hat is a AOLA hat. Like no old man not so deeply dedicated to L. Ron Hubbard's policies and engraved in.
Would be wearing that.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, that is DOA, Defender of Ants, Scotty, who saw what was happening. He saw this guy getting in your face, and he went running across traffic to get there to help out.
him
I
yell
can't-
at somebody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can't tell you. In my mind, I was building up. Okay, so my phone, I catch my phone. Had he not run up, my mind and my structure was getting ready to defend myself because of how that man's face looked.
So
And
you
then-
really felt in
And
that
what
moment.
happened? Yeah, it literally felt like a freaking game, because a video game or something. Like I was like, oh, I'm getting ready to amp up and not care about my phone streaming anymore. I was like, and then all of a sudden, hey, I
Yeah.
hear this loud. And for a second, I thought it was security or something coming at me.
So you were really in that moment feeling like this was your physical, like you could be physically harmed in this moment. You expected him to come at you based on how he was,
Yeah,
how
and
he
I
was
didn't
acting.
think I knew DOA. I knew Pete Protector of Ants was around there, and there was some other people around. But I was like, oh, this guy's gonna assault me faster than I can record it. He already's whacked my phone, and he's an old man in Scientology. He literally has no limit. What is he gonna do? Just swing a like? What is he gonna do? So I was like, and so I was already getting revved up, and then I hear the hey, and I was like, oh, is that security? And then I was like, oh, look at that. And then it was kind of, you could see how, POA just pulled his, this guy, boom, and they start talking. And then I start following him, not following him, just like shocked, like, no, we're not, we're going to walk this through.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of the canteen. Look at you. Get your TRs in.
How dare you?
Psycho.
So
This is
true.
what happens. You're going to get in major ethics trouble for this.
I'm trying to get in his head a
Yep,
little
you're
bit.
on the
Yeah,
but
and you
still accomplish something like, oh, wow, is this what needs to happen for somebody to shake out of their Scientology
Yeah.
structure and belief? Like a random man coming to
Mhm.
support And just anybody would do that if they saw that around some old man, like, well, what are you going to do to somebody? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And okay, guys, this also was going through my head. Lots of things go through people's heads during this time, lots of triggers. He looked very much like one of my best friend's parents, what that he are already struggling with being able to talk to their mom and dad. And I thought, oh my God, what if it did? What if this is him? And then I was like, it's not. And then I was thinking, oh my God, but this is just like this, like, if I can't get to my own father and I can't get to the elderly that are in the Sea Org, then what is the point in bashing down this old man? I was just kind of being like, what can I say? Your TRs are out. That's the first thing I was saying. And then I'm like, well, you're going to get into a lot of ethics trouble. And then I was thinking of his upset or him being upset trying to leave the building right before this. And
Yeah.
thinking like, well, you're probably already, all this stuff was going through my head.
Yeah. And I
Kind of
could,
reminded me of my dad, like, oh, would my dad treat me like this if I came out? If it wasn't me, if I was just a random girl or somebody coming up to my dad, would my dad do this to somebody else like me?
wow, it's amazing how much can go through your mind when you're in a position of fight or flight and being threatened like that. But what amazes me is how quickly, like all that's going through your head and you go from being prepared to physically defend yourself, like you're feeling that he's going to physically harm you.
Yeah.
And then Scotty, DOA, runs up, gets in his face. And the way that
Oh,
you're talking to him,
you say DOA? Is it DOA? I say protector of ants. Oh, is
defender
it
of ants.
defender of ants? Okay.
Yep. Yep. Scotty, defender of ants.
Okay.
And he's right there to help you. And the things you're saying to him, like get your TRs in, that's something in Scientology that means it's your training routine to get in your ability to communicate, to be there comfortably and communicate. And ironically, this is a drill that Scientologists do over and over and over again, yet they're not allowed to communicate or they show up and respond like this. So I really loved what you were saying to him, because you're right. That what you were saying was maybe getting through to him, because in that moment, at some point he thought, oh crap, I messed up here. Like now
Yeah.
I'm really going to be in trouble. And you're telling him you're going to get in ethics trouble. That communicates to Scientologists something that's very
Different. Yep.
severe, that's different.
That
So
this
you're
is not
speaking his
okay, even
language.
in your own language. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And you're totally talking that
The
to him.
record, buddy. It's good. Maybe you'll get kicked out. And then whatever you're upset about will actually get handled. Yep. Take a walk.
Oh, so he did go, well, he did do that. Well,
Well, I think
and
it's
so
also
then I
possible
heard
he wants to be
him.
kicked out.
No, there's something. He's mad. He's angry on both sides right now.
Mhm.
And obviously him coming at me with the finger and all that, he was just like,
He was already mad.
he's already mad, whether it was all at us and like we're stopping everybody from going up the bridge or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he clearly is not being helped by Scientology.
Mhm.
In his age, this is what he's struggling with right now. And so, yeah, all this is being processed. And then you're going to see defender of ants come running up, Scotty come running up and going like, no, he needs to be kind of like arrested and go get him. I'm going to get him. And as I'm following him, I see he's got two earpieces, like, he's hearing aids. And that's not what we're here for. Like,
Mm.
I understand, there are certain things, yes, people do need to get arrested. But in that moment, I felt what I felt. And that wasn't the right thing to do, was not to get the police involved and get this man attacked and handcuffed. And
Yeah.
I
And
just
that's the
wanted
difference
him
between
to know. I
Scientology
wanted
and
him.
you.
Yeah, I wanted him to learn, hey, you can't do that. What you just did is illegal. I want you. And so, yeah, I do stop Defender of
Yeah.
Ants coming to go at him again.
So
but-
let's see that.
It's actually illegal to touch me or even touch my camera.
You can
So
hear
you'll
I'm a
learn
little
all the laws
shook right
soon,
there.
but doing
Yeah.
things like that's going to get you arrested. And doesn't matter if you're an old man and you didn't know better and you didn't know the law. It's okay, leave him alone. He's literally going through something.
He came out of the canteen yelling at one of the Sea Org members. He's already not happy. So he's already having a difficult time with somebody in there. And I caught him. I'll rewind this, but I caught him. And so when he was walking out, I said, "Whoa, what's that all about?" And I said, why the HENR, which means human emotion and reaction. And then he just went like that. F you right to my camera. Nothing. Once I said, "What's the human?" But I don't know, something happened inside. And then I heard I was filming. And then I said, "Whoa, what was that?" Because he came out angry because he was yelling at somebody inside. So they were having an internal argument, and I just caught that. And so I was asking him in like the Sea Org public language, like, what was that about? But now I'm thinking maybe he's already having an argument with the church and dealing with something he doesn't want to deal with. And so then he's like, "And you're an ST." And so it's like the guy has hearing aids and stuff. I don't want to. But it's just, that's the attitude. And I just.
Well, you see how Defender of Ants right there, he goes, "Okay, I get it. This is heartful people. These are people who understand it. They're not there for the clicks, and the Defender of Ants is not here for the clicks and that. He's here. He shows up and he's there before even I get there sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God, look at him. He's right there in his little king outfit. And it's just great. This is freedom. People to wear what they want. Scientologists put people down for looking funky and wearing outrageous outfits, and they're just demeaning people all the time and being too sexy and being, whatever, unless you're not doing it to a Sea Org member or an executive, being gay. Like I have caught my own family members being so homophobic by just seeing a gay person and saying something so horrendous. So yeah, homophobia, even people who are out in SPTV are still dealing with homophobia from Scientology. I heard you guys talking about that on Liz's thing. There is still homophobic tendencies, thoughts, the way that people think in the SPTV community that don't even realize they still are homophobic because of Scientology. Like men can't be okay with another man's good looks or be like, "Oh, I could see them as a hot, beautiful couple." Whereas you just said, "I see Serge and Michael. Oh my God, they're so beautiful." You're not their third wheel. You're not in there doing it. But Scientology men specifically, and women not as much. I think once you leave, you kind of get over that. But men hold on to this very strongly, and they don't realize it. Even when they say they're okay, "Oh, I'm okay with gay people. It doesn't bug me as long as they're just not trying to fuck me." All of that is homophobic. Not every gay guy is trying. So there's so much structure to debunk, and so there's so much. So all of this is so therapeutic. But
tell me this.
Let me tell you, there was seconds before I was about to shove that man off me.
Yeah.
If I did not hear that guy. If I did not hear Scotty come running and his voice and his masculinity, excuse me, my mic, that is a real man. That is somebody who did not even touch him when he went up, but told him, "I have muscles and strength. How dare you use something against a woman or another human being that, wow, I'm getting emotional."
It's all right.
Because this is what is not seen internally. This is not like, I didn't have to be in a relationship with Scotty or, the protector of ants or defender of ants, for him to be the man in that situation.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
And never did we have that as children. Not from our mothers and not from our fathers, but from somebody who just understands what this whole cult aspect of Scientology is. And then from a whole nother perspective, running up and saying, "You are not allowed to do that." Like, never did we have that as children.
Not have somebody stand up for you, not have somebody hold space for you, not have somebody come up and stop.
Specifically against Scientology. Like, you old man that has been brainwashed to think this is okay is not okay. And the fucking hilarious thing is just like this younger, Viking beast with his little king suit is coming up and saying, "No, I don't care what we believe in. I don't care if you think I'm a crazy kook on a phone. You do not treat another human being like that. And
Yeah.
here I am getting mixed up with like, oh my God, he looks like my dad. Oh my God, it's my best friend's, father that's not allowed to talk to him. I just was just like, and then I'm like, it's just like, there's no way to show that this happens in the masculine, the male side of Scientology, where they are completely disassociated with like real love and connection.
Yeah. So having that in that moment when you're in, especially being that you felt threatened, you felt physically like your safety was an issue there, and having Scotty, DOA, run up and do that, somebody who's never been in Scientology, and I talk about this a lot on this channel, how much respect I have for the people never in Scientology who continue to show up for us. Talk about that a lot. And would you say that that's what he did?
We wouldn't be here on these TV shit, like these TV video things doing this. Like, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy to feel like when somebody really is just there to really protect you. And
Had you felt that before?
To not have had that 100% that much in that moment took me from my anger child self that I would have immediately just went and beat the poop out of this guy or something. I don't know. I would have definitely shoved him really hard. It took me from my complete anger that I had resented, that I still have, as from childhood buildup. It took me from that psychotic state of I'm about to push this guy to, oh my God, I feel completely safe and I don't have to do anything. I can be a woman again. I can be soft.
And in that space, and this is what I find so fascinating and why I'm so glad that we're able
Which
to talk
later
about
gave
it.
me the courage, which gave me the
Exactly.
empathy for that man.
Yeah.
So the man that came up to protect me from this man being so aggressive gave me the empathy to calm down and be there for that man, to let him go and to just move forward and remind us all what this is about. And what just happened showed what this is about.
And I think that is the most powerful part of it. It's the powerful part about this in my mind is not even that he assaulted you. We know that
Neither.
happened. We
I
see
would
that.
feel bad that I pushed him, but I was
Mhm.
getting there. I was like, this guy's not going to stop.
Yeah.
He
But the
doesn't
idea,
care. And he knew he was alone too. He felt, oh, it's just
Yeah.
this one girl.
yeah, yeah. And that he could do that, and to have somebody stand up to him and, like you said, hold space for you in that moment. And to me, this was a physical manifestation in ways of what I and other TV creators, I think, try to describe of the impact that it has when people are holding space like he did for you. And because Scotty, DOA, in that moment held that space for you where you felt safe, you were able to calm down and you went right into empathy and compassion and showed up in a way for that older man that maybe might make a difference as well. It's stopping this cycle of just, how would you describe it? Violence,
It's like a
repeat
bad habit,
mistreatment.
right? And the world has this bad habit. We all think, oh, if our mom did it to us, then it's okay. And I have an excuse to do it. Or, I learned it and my religion tells me to do this, then I can treat my kids like this. Or I could, no, it's like we all have our own choices. And I just go right back to nature and life, right? What is this all about? Let's, you have your plants behind you, and I have little things where it's like, it's so nice to be able to just see something grow naturally. Just from natural love and not having ego and threats and fear. Like, this is a weird thing at the Inn Ranch, as a cadet working. God damn, it must be the period. Working was actually a privilege. Like, working felt fun. Working felt free. Not only because, mess work helps you get out of your head.
And that's
all
physical
I'm
work.
Yeah. But because we could work really hard building these rows of fields and planting the seeds and putting the tea tapes and wow, I didn't realize it until until literally the last 4 or 5 years how much I love earth and soil and animals, and that literally these were the things that kept me alive, physically alive.
Being able to
Being
connect with the earth.
Yeah, and plants and being like, well, this is horrible, but at least I have my dog Teddy by me. Not even my dog. It was an adult's dog that I completely took care of.
Mhm.
It was like my friend. Anyway, so what I'm getting to is like, you can't be lied to anymore. It feels like when I see something grow beautifully and it works beautifully, and I see other families in the outside world having difficult problems of their own, it feels like it shows us the same upset. We're having a common upset. We're all having this common disagreement of it's not natural, it's inhumane to rip apart families. It's inhumane to purposely mold a child's brain into something their whole life, knowing that the brain and everything is forming during these very important years, and expect us not to cry for the rest of our lives after it. Like, no, I will cry now forever. And I'm also going to be strong as fuck forever. So, yeah, there's things we're still refixing. We're rebuilding our little physical structures and chemicals of our brains. And we're unteaching ourselves so much.
Yeah, that's
So,
completely the truth. Rewiring those pathways, creating new ones to be stronger. I've talked about on my channel, I don't know if you've heard about this, but when it comes to neurological issues on how when you experience a lot of trauma, your brain can rewire. And these are what my neurologist went over with me and felt happened. And I was having physically issues walking for a while and got much better. But what it does in rewiring your brain, which then can make things malfunction later and you see it physically, is very real. And by creating a different pathway, by responding and handling it differently, is what gets us out of that. And what I really hear from you and what we saw there was, again, just this physical manifestation of exactly that. You were in a situation where you were being threatened, you felt threatened, you were ready to defend yourself all by yourself. You weren't about to back down, but somebody from the
and words,
outside.
I just even remembered this during that exact moment. I remembered thinking he just hit my camera. Nobody's going to be here fast enough, right? And I was thinking, I swear to God, I was thinking, and only Scientology will be the ones who will say, "Oh no, that didn't happen."
Yeah. And they had it all recorded because of their cameras that
Every
are everywhere.
that's what I mean. That's in my mind. I'm thinking, "Oh, Scientology has every angle of this recorded."
Every
And that's why I told
street,
him he's
every
going to be in
angle.
ethics trouble. He'd be in ethics
Yeah.
trouble. Because they're
Right.
going to look at that and say, hey, you left when security told you not to or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you created this flap.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He is actually definitely going to be in real trouble. Do you think that you tell me, because I've only gotten to know you through seeing you online, like probably many people have. And there's been multiple times where, like, even when you saw your dad and you still showed up with love for him and you told him that you loved him. Do you feel that at this time in this movement with Scientology, in the ex-Scientologist community, in with all these people who've never been in Scientology helping, has that had an impact on just now, like you're saying, in nurturing that compassion and empathy that you have and you show up with? As you were saying, like, they're holding
Well,
space for you.
100% on both ends, because I saw in reality, guys, what my dad did. He showed me he's not looking at me. He showed me in his physical actions, whether that was hard for me to watch and experience and to feel. It did something to me where it gave me a reality check.
Can
Stop.
you kind of briefly tell people what happened in case some people did not see the video of when you saw your father?
So they're protesting at the Shrine Auditorium at the beginning of this year. They do a New Year's event every year. So I knew they're going to be there. And also, I do want to say I felt very protected by Streets LA and the TikToker crews when they just started this. It was around the similar time because I had done a protest September 30th at the Big Blue with the Eat Predators. Have you heard of Eat Predators?
Predators. I don't think so.
Eat Predators. So yeah, and it's Alexa. You can look it up, but they're Eat Predators, and I saw this protest, and Aaron, he announced like, oh, not Lara. I just saw somebody say Lara. I watched her, but he said, hey, and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to that. But when he announced it, he said, oh, Eat Predators is doing a protest at Big Blue. And I go, and anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm going, thinking that I would see other people there that I would know, and nervous out of my mind. And trust me, guys, I can tell you from full experience, I understand the PTSD of showing up to a protest. But let me tell you, once you get there, ask Liz Gale, ask Liz Ferris, ask anybody. Once you get there, the first time it's like, woo, you still kind of are coming off of it for a few days. And then you do it again and you do it again, and it becomes therapeutic. It becomes so healing. It becomes so addicting because you're finally getting the acknowledgement. You're finally getting the attention that these children that seek to, you guys think, oh, we need so much attention. Yeah. Yes, you're right. We do. So listen up. So it feels very like we're not begging for people's attention anymore.
Yeah.
It feels really good. But okay, so
To
back
have
to my
that,
dad, I was
Yeah.
and my friend Jen, who I've met through the SPTV community. Hi, Jen, if you're in the chat. She was like, okay. I texted her kind of like, hey, they're doing this thing at the Shrine Auditorium. I was kind of like, oh God, I'm gonna have to take a lift. And it's all the way down in, the downtown, like very far for me to take a lift and not just feel good with being able to jump in my car and go if I need to or whatever, right? And so I texted my friend Jen, and she just said, okay, cool, yeah. And she'll pick me up. And I was like, oh my God, you literally just made it official. Okay, going. No idea, obviously, what was going to happen is I'm seeing my dad. I actually had my attention more on my mom. I was like, Jen, oh my God, what if I see my mom? Because I didn't know where my dad was. I just know he's not at Gold. He's not on the RPF anymore. I haven't heard from him for so long. I'm obviously, anyway, so she was there with me. And so we're going, and just everybody there, it was just this, the thing with the blue building. When I first went there, Jen was there. She was again like, oh, hi. I'm like, oh my God, Jen was there. So that felt really good. So then we're doing it again. But other than that, I felt like I have to go do this for myself.
Yeah.
I have to heal me. I've only had maybe I'm crazy and I'm just being a crybaby about all this. I'm going to go deal with it by myself then. I want to see those gold staff member and the in-base staff members coming off that bus. I want to see their faces and I want to see how I feel. That's what I was thinking. And anyway, so during that time, being safe and learning from Streets and from all these people, my nose is running like crazy, guys. I can't help it. I learned a lot. You learn a lot. Like I'm learning the laws. I'm learning, the police need to have the permit, and they should, it's supposed to be an open public document that anybody can look up and see, they have a permit from this time to this time, and what they won't struggle with, and losing the fear of being in front of the cops.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
always feeling like authority is something, I've done something wrong, that's why they're around me. Instead of authority being like, again, with, Defender of Ants, that's authority. That's like, no, you cannot do this. This is why we're here. I'm going to keep crying, guys. Get over
Totally
it.
all right. Totally all right. And you're right. That's why I thought it was just so powerful watching that whole thing play out. And like I said, the least part of it was even the assault itself. And like I said, I've seen that with you a few times. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, because we left Scientology because we didn't want to be that way. We didn't want to walk through the earth. I know for me, I did not want to walk through this planet, seeing people through this lens and having that type of judgment in my heart and lack of acceptance and all the things. And to go back, and this is why I give you guys so much credit, especially the ex-Scientologists now who are going and doing the protests, is it's a scary thing for multiple reasons for anybody. Because to your point, you're thinking about the police, you're thinking about the Scientologists that are there, but it's really for many, you're going back to where the abuse happened. So it's
Mhm.
not just, oh, I'm going to go, protest Scientology. It's that for many of us, you're going back to where the worst of it was.
And not only the worst, the headquarters,
Yeah.
the executives, the ones that are really connected to LAPD.
What was that like for you? Was this the first time that you ever did any type of protest with Scientology since leaving?
So the first one was the Blue Building with the Eat Predators. And I
Okay.
show up, I'm walking, guys. I made my proud SP. That's when I first made my proud SP sign. I was like, and I was nervous, guys. It's a whole thing. It's not just like, oh, going to the protest or not. It's, oh my God, the whole time. So be
Yeah.
prepared. But no, it's okay, guys. It's amazing. Just, it's like jumping off, bungee jumping or something, and then you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. So obviously, I'm not bungee jumping anytime soon. But there are things that when we go through it, and especially if we have interest in doing it, if you do it, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to be like, holy crap, that was way too much. That was intense. I need to sit and process. But so this was on us our whole life. So I'm showing up with walking with my sign, like, oh my God, with my bright goldenrod jumpsuit. Just, I had this whole vision of like, my main thing right here for this is I want them to know their fearful word of being declared an SP, a suppressive, is a joke. And I'm a proud SP, and watch me scream my lungs out. And I did not know I was going to be yelling out my lungs and everything. I was going through some major healing during the first time. So that was my first one, was the Eat Predators.
Mhm.
And that was intense.
Was it
That's
then when you
also
went
one
and
that somebody smacked my phone out of my thing.
Yeah.
And I just, in the adrenaline, all this, and and then, so to see myself, oh, okay. So then that happened. And then going back to my dad,
Yeah.
going to that protest, being like, okay, I did that one. Now I could do this other one. It just felt like, so then there I am out there, oh, there's Osa calling people out. I'm telling you, oh, nice to meet you, Streets. That was the first time
Yeah.
I met Will. And then meeting some of the, TikTokers, Chris and Easy and all that. And they have all these questions. And then, there's so many SP Spanglish was there. And then the angry gay Pope popped up. And I was like, oh my God, I've been watching the angry gay Pope forever. I like, and anything, all the struggles that guy has been through. That guy got tackled in Hemet, California by Danny Dunnigan and Matt Butterworth or whatever his name is. Like,
Matt Butterworth is in Hemet?
He's blonde, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Matt
I knew him
with
when we
like
were
weird front
kids.
teeth, like beaver
Yeah.
teeth kind of. Yeah. He's a hardcore asshole
Wow.
security guard. Him and Danny Dunnigan at the Gold Base.
You know what,
currently,
though? I'll be
still
straight
today.
up. When he was a kid, he was like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not too
That's why they
surprised.
put him in security. And
Mhm.
same with Danny Dunnigan.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why Jackson got kicked out, because his heart was too big
too
for him
big.
to deal with. Even though you're still groomed doing shitty shit, it's like you have to have gross people at the top of these positions.
Yeah,
That's
you
why you
do.
have people like these security guards who just have no what do you call that? No
No
lid, like no like yeah, no, not
No
even a
boundaries?
lid, no balance, just no balance. They're just, this is how it is. And if you cross it, and it's like, no, that's not life.
No, but that is
Scientology
how
doesn't.
most behave in the Sea organization. What was it like to see your dad when you saw him at the
Okay.
Shrine
So
Auditorium?
what I was saying is that these little protests help me.
Yeah.
This community, guys, I cannot fucking tell you how much your guys' power for me to go running back to you guys being like, did you see that?
Mhm.
This community, it's not just like my friend Jen there with me. It's everybody and the community and the Squirrel Squad and everybody. And I'm going, okay, If I go to jail, if this cop, then I go to jail and everybody's going to see it. What is the fear? So the same thing I'm saying about the protesting is the same thing that I felt with the cops. By this point, I'm starting to go, if you're here to protect, you're supposed to be here to protect everybody. If I was a cop and I even was a Scientologist cop, let's just say, I would say, guys, I know you know I'm a Scientologist. I am fair with you and I'm fair with both of them. Why not just be open like that? There wouldn't be freaking issues. There wouldn't be a protest if that's how it was. That's actually the point. So anyway, so I'm sitting there protesting with everybody and I'm like, oh my God, adrenaline. And I'm seeing faces from the Gold Base and INT staff and OSA and coming by. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm trying to remember things as you go back and watch the stream, but I'm yelling out people's name. I'm like, oh, Matt from CC Celebrity Center. I was just naming Eva. I was like, he's a Butterworth still. She came, you know, she's like English lady. She's in the, I think she's English. Anyways, she's in the gold crew. So I was just like, oh, there's Eva Butterworth. It was Butterworth at the time, but I know she's like remarried to somebody else now. Anyways, so as I'm saying this, I was kind of dancing and singing SP is me. Da-da-da. And then somebody walked by and I was like, oh, I kind of think I know that person. And then I swear to God, my mind was tripping. I literally saw my dad. I see a shape and I'm thinking my dad was in the galley doing dishes and stuff whenever he was in trouble or whenever, like that's where he was last doing well, where they would just put him so that he's just not causing any problems. Like, I guess being out in the public. So I kind of was like, that could be an option. So when I see this figure and a dish cart coming out, I just know, oh, that's somebody in the Sea Org from the event crew. So I'm like, good, I'm going to film this guy no matter what, because they're backstage crew and they're in the Sea Org. So I was just like, and then as I'm going, I'm like, oh my God, is that my dad? It took a minute and it's going, I'm like, oh my God, that's my dad. And that's my dad. And so I kind of look at the support you guys see. And I was looking and I was like, oh my God. So many things were going through my mind. And so when this assault happened the other day, or 2 days ago, I've grown so much even from that emotionally. I've learned so much. I've been allowed to feel what I've really wanted to feel. And so again, guys, this support, I don't care what anybody says, this group, SPTV, is the bomb. It's amazing. Your guys' support is amazing. Everything about it is amazing. So seeing that was just a lot. The dad and me yelling. And then I was thinking, what are the last things I can tell him? I want him to hear. If you die, literally, guys. I was thinking of Liz Ferris's dad and like and then my uncle, his brother, my dad's brother, passed away. He was the senior has INT, you know, so, and he died from colon cancer. And I just was like, I don't watch my dad deteriorate in the goddamn galley now. So much stuff was going through my head. And then I'm seeing him reject me or ignore me.
But what did you say? What did you tell him?
I yelled. I was just like, Dad, you're not going to talk to me. You're not going to, Dad. And then I was like, Dad, I love you. And it was just, that's, you know, through all the crying and everything, I just really just want him to know that, because Scientology is the poison. Scientology is the cancer. And I can be mad at my dad, or I could just be mad at the cancer that's corrupting him.
Yeah. And then to go from that then to connect with a group of people, the other live streamers and protesters who have really, really stood up and been that backup and given so many people who grew up in Scientology and never felt like someone was there to protect them.
Yeah, and Aaron nailed it that time. It took me time to process. And then when I went on the live stream with Aaron about it, I realized I was so mad at him, at my dad. And Aaron got me when he said, when I was watching that, I would not have been okay. And I wasn't. And I didn't realize that until Aaron mentioned it to me. I was like, no, I'm so mad at him. I'm so mad at him. So I've done a lot of processing. And not Scientology processing.
If you could say anything to your dad, if you had the opportunity to talk to your dad, what do you think that you would say? How would that
I would just
conversation
say,
start?
stop. Just stop. Stop all this. You need to give me a chance. Stop it all. Go out into the world for a year, and I promise you, I will give you all the love and all the connection that we need. But just give it a chance. Just give it a chance, Dad.
To then have that experience that you had with the assault and then with Scotty DOA and being there and backing you up. How does it feel moving forward? Do you feel more supported in that way? I can only speculate and imagine what that would feel like being in that position as you were, but knowing that someone who's a stranger virtually, who shows up but would
You
still
know,
be there and have your back on it.
honestly, he doesn't feel like a stranger to me because I've seen him at the testing center and we were joking and I was singing on his live and being funny and he was asking really good questions and things like that. So that's what I mean. Such as, yeah, sure, a stranger, but somebody who comes with the intention, and it doesn't matter what he looks like and what he's wearing and what his, oh, he's so wild and out there and oh, he's got paint on his shirt. Like this guy came to protect, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need more humans like this. We need more humans like me who are going to be able to upstand these corrupt organizations during these emotional, heavily, purposely done, by the way. Scientology wants us to go crazy and react.
Yeah,
So
that is exactly true. That's a tactic of a Scientology when they have somebody who is speaking out about it or who's a critic of Scientology or who they think is going to be. One of the first things they're going to try to do if they have any exposure to you is to gaslight you into being as null and void as they can. And the game changer here, the difference today with this movement is the number of people never in Scientology who are here, who are supporting these channels, who are showing their support and helping everyone know that they're not alone. And by doing that, for people who have left Scientology, who've left this cult, I feel like it represents what we can do for each other in so many different areas. This isn't just for the ex-Scientology community. If anyone has ever felt alone or not protected or went through something as a child, and someone should have been there.
yeah, and this is the thing we're healing is that's not okay. Somebody should have been there. You should have had the strength before you were left alone to just do something like that or to have it's just I
they're
can't
there
wait until
now.
I get over the day that I stop crying because I'm just so full of love.
I don't know if that ever happens. I'm not sure. I mean, I've been out of Scientology for 13 years. It's one thing I wonder myself too. I think the change, though, at least I know for me, and I want to know what you think about this, is having that support makes all the difference because often I'm fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. And I know this, that I have my core family that they left with me. I'm so incredibly fortunate. That's why it took me 2 years to actually execute a plan to leave because I wanted that to happen. But so many people who leave Scientology, they do so alone and alone until they're not. And that's what's so great about having this community form around these SPTV creators, would you say?
Yeah. And I know that it's also hard to hear like a community or a group or an organization or anything. It's hard to be a part of any group. We don't have to be a group. You don't have to be nothing. Like
There's no roll call.
nothing. You can literally just listen forever and just be like, okay, cool. I love this. Oh my God, that helped me. That's what's so great. It really is. It's sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to be on my live.
Exactly.
And
Power
it's
lies.
like
Sorry. Power lies to paralysis. Lara. I'm going to get it right. Lara, your ethical presence is absolutely beautiful and truly powerful. You are an enormous being. Thank you. Andrea Bear, I know you're a grown woman and Lara, but I wish I could adopt you. Bless you with healing. And what does that say? Wholeness.
Wholenessness.
That is beautiful.
Wholenessness.
Wholenessness. It's beautiful. Thank you. Jen, keep making waves, Laura. Laura. Oh my God. Lara. Great conversation. Nice to learn about your channel, Natalie. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
I love you, Jen. That's Jen who went with me to the protest and was there at the Shrine Auditorium, was holding my my live stream phone when I was like, did you guys see that?
Very cool. And this is another super chat for you. This is all I can give today, but we'll send more soon. One gypsy.
You're so sweet.
So
you don't
how
have
about,
to send, and money is not the only thing, guys. Your support and being there and just, it's great, you know.
Kim is asking, what's your mom's name? I may have known her parents at the Toronto org back in the early 80s.
Kim, my mom's parents were never in Scientology. Just saying that. I don't know if you meant that. But my mom's name is Diane Anderson, but she went by in Canada. I guess I don't know if she went by that. She was a ballet dancer in Canada, in Toronto. And her first real legal name is Jessie Diane. And her last name would have been Mulholland before she was married to my dad. And then, so Jessie Diane Anderson from Toronto organization.
So how about this one? Do you think that, so you using Scientology talk to him made it worse? If she hadn't, might he have realized his upset was at Scientology? No. You got to speak their language. It's part of it is kind of meeting people where they are.
Also made what worse? That's the real thing here. Made what worse?
Yeah.
Him staying in there more? No, he's always going to stay in there. Me talking about it is probably giving him some shakeup.
Yeah. Sometimes people don't leave until they get in trouble.
Until something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he was like, well, anyway.
This is a great question from Jan. If Scientologists are taught to not react, how do they justify their anger and assaulting people?
Out TRs, out 2D. Oops, sorry, that was my bank. I went out TRs. I'll fix that in my next cramming order or my next ethics handling. That's it. That's how they justify it.
I think part of it too there are contradictory rules in Scientology. Yes, there's this expectation where you keep your training routines and your ability to be there comfortably and face whatever's going on. But at the same time, L. Ron Hubbard teaches you to be ruthless, especially in the SEAL organization. To be, only the tigers survive. This is something we're told over and over and over and over again. Having an open mind is a bad thing. Being reasonable is a bad thing. You have to be this hard, harsh, tough, very black and white thinking mentality. And it takes a lot to break through that sometimes. So they don't think, also, L. Ron Hubbard says that they practice what they call fair game. They can do anything to someone declared.
I thought you were going to say the tone scale. Because I was going to say, if I'm an SP, I'm below body death, right? So him being angry and antagonism and aggressive is actually higher toned than me.
Than you are, exactly. L. Ron Hubbard has his tone, the scale of emotions on there. And Scientologists are taught that, how to respond to somebody in these different tones. So they feel very justified because a suppressive person or a squirrel in their mind is dirt, less than dirt. L. Ron Hubbard said that anyone who leaves the Sea organization is a degraded being. And that's how they refer to people like us who've left the Sea organization. Doesn't matter what, we could go out and cure cancer. In the eyes of L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology and the Sea organization, we are forever degraded beings for not fulfilling a billion-year contract.
Yeah. Oh, and then you were talking about fair game. So this guy has fair game in mind, and plus his tone scale trainings and all that.
Kim wants to know if you're related to John Meissner, possibly a cousin.
I don't know who that is. I mean, guys, I barely know who my own family is.
Maybe you got people out in Canada that you got to track down. Louis is a question. When was the first time you discovered that people on the outside were actually good people, not like you had been told they were?
You want to answer that?
I think for me, it was when I started getting involved with different volunteer groups in my community and really seeing that play out, that there were so many organizations. When I volunteered with the Red Cross, I did all kinds of different volunteering and seeing that there were many good people out there wanting to do good. Because when I was inside Scientology, it was crazy. It was such a dichotomy because on one hand, it was us against them, but on the other hand, we're supposed to be clearing the planet and saving them, but there was such disdain for people outside of Scientology. It just was the opposite of what it always claimed to be. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. Yeah. I would also say the other thing is obviously the SPTV community really punched that out for me. That when I'm still receiving it every day, guys. Like that for my Scientology side, the SPTV community is probably the only community that has been helping me on really knowing, oh my God, there are these really amazing, beautiful, random people in the outside world that are beautifully caring and they've never met me and like treat me as if they have. And then there's this other thing of not needing that attention or that care that was so deprived from us and not needing that acknowledgement. We just want to talk now. We just want to say it. And if you have something rude to say, we're going to delete you so quick. Trust me.
I'm just
and then I just
Nancy.
think that, yeah.
Does Laura know how much respect DOA has for her?
Aw.
So that's Scotty.
That's very sweet. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't laid down the rope and told me. No, I'm sure. I can tell. I just feel it's probably why we connected right away. We were being funny on the streets and stuff. I'm sure I do. Yeah. I think he's a cool cat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Could they declare him for interacting with an SP?
No, they'll just because he was defending Scientology, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But he did
So-
cause an incident. I think that it might add to the list of things if they wanted
That
to
he
get
was
rid of this
already-
guy. And
Yeah.
the fact that you heard him arguing about whether he could leave or not, kind of a thing. He was already being disobedient. And the fact
Right.
that this incident happened and
Will
we're
get him
still
in
talking
trouble.
about it. Exactly.
For not
But
listening. Yeah.
I think this is a man that kind of has one foot out the door already.
Maybe, or totally, maybe. I don't know because he was dedicated. That's an old man,
Yeah.
dedicated, wearing a backpack that says AOLA and a maroon hat that has like some Scientology thing on it.
From
So
back in the day. So I am just Nancy. Another question. It must really help that you can scream once in a while in times of protecting. Good therapy, I suppose.
yeah, no, not once in a while. It should be done every single day and not just screaming, but crying and feeling every emotion, boredom, sadness, fear, all of it, because we weren't allowed to have any of it. So it all comes up just when we're doing all of this.
Yeah. Tell me about what are things like now that you're out of the Sea organization? How long have you been out of Scientology?
Out of Scientology mentally, like 7 years. I got
Yeah.
declared like 6 years ago.
Yeah. And what does life look like today?
It looks like brand new. It looks like because I'm not stuck with this whole sack that's just lying to me and holding me down and feeling like I cannot just live my own life without having all these attachments to this. It's like, no. I get to grow from those. I get to grow away from this corrupt, made up thing. So I feel every day from the rest of my life. Like I told somebody, I'm like, I'm the happiest I've ever been today than I've ever been in my whole life. So it can't be that bad. But at the same time, I'm also feeling so much more. And like just the little things in life, I appreciate so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel sad because my heart feels a lot more and
Yeah.
it feels sad. Easily.
Have you, and you don't have to answer this question, have you done any type of therapy, explored that yet?
And you mean like regular therapy?
Regular
or do you mean like a
therapy.
specific therapy?
Just regular therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to find a therapist that I can go to all the time.
Yeah.
I would like to find a therapist, even, like, but then, okay, so my answer is yes. I go to therapy sessions or I'm like, oh, I really need help. And I'll go to a friend and be like, I need some deep help on this. I don't know what to do. This is the right, like, and they literally have, psychological therapy credentials. So I'm going to them for a very, very valid, solid reason. But There are things that I have to learn that give me therapy by going through things that are uncomfortable and ugly. And the therapist isn't going to give me that. They can give me guidance on, looks like you need to get into that. And I'm like, I don't want to. Then I know.
Here's a question from Planet Lupa. Lara, how and when did you team up with Serge? You rock.
Me and Serge met in the Sea Org in Clearwater, Florida. I left the Int Ranch and was being shipped off from the Int Ranch with a bunch of other Int Ranch children to join the official headquarters of, the actual Sea organization out in a public organization. We had never been in the outside world. So I was in Clearwater, and I think me and Serge have talked about that on previous episodes on my channel, where he just saw these kids coming in from the ranch. And they were all like rugged little soldiers. And then I was like, oh my God, who is this young? I felt like, who is this young, already trained? Oh, I've heard about his name. He went by Sergio then. And I was like, Sergio has, he's so highly trained. He can sec check anybody. He can interrogate anybody. He can just he can audit. He can fix anybody's why. He can. So I was just like I always had this weird thing. Like, who is this guy that I knew he had just come off the RPF. So I was a little like, how is this younger man already had been through the whole RPF and everything and is still like this, really intense by his age and is just so chill and like because he always made things kind of chill and casual, but he was like very strict as fuck. So I don't know, it's just interesting. And so we knew each other in there. We had little moments of connections of like he was like, oh, there's Megan. They would call me Megan. There's Megan again. Like, oh, we're gonna have to give her a good session, or let's get her. She needs an ARC brake handling. She doesn't need this. He was always it was just interesting. And so when we left, it was a whole weird. Our relationship today, mine and Serge, is completely different than our relationship or what we knew of each other in the Sea Org.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's because we are completely different people, because we have grown so much out of what was forced for us to be our whole lives. So that's how we know each other. And recently, maybe like the last few years, I've just seen, actually last 5 years, Serge was already dancing and doing stuff before we had started to work on stuff. But he first was just dancing and doing really amazing art things for my shows. And then eventually he was learning the songs and all that and would be like, I think we were dancing and being fun one time and he was like, dream love. And I was like, Serge, you should sing. And like, it's all just naturally come together. So, and it's great therapy for both of us. Like,
that's
it's
wonderful.
Quite incredible. Yeah.
Do you have an email that you can share? People are asking for your email and they want to throw it in the chat. If you have one, you'll share publicly.
Yeah. Am I able to? No. I was going to pop it up, but I don't think I can. Okay. My email is Lara. It's very easy. Lara, Lara, guys. There's
L-A-R-A.
no U. Lara, Lara FM music @gmail.com.
It's me. Emilio's asking, how far did you get on the bridge?
To, I guess, TRs and objectives would be right. I did method 1. But I received it, so I didn't do it. But training wise and receiving it, the highest I think would be, I think I was going to get on what they call like the grade preps or whatever.
Yeah.
Happiness rundown or something. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a bunch of sec checking. Like, I was like, no, done with that. So I did method 1 and that was horrible. Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not doing this ever again.
Trick. Oops. We're going with trick. What happens to the elderly people that talk to the SPs outside the blue building? It's sad how they treat them. It's Laurie, have you noticed? I'm sure you noticed because you're there. I've only seen it on the screen. I'm amazed by how many it seems overwhelmingly that the Scientologists that are left tend to be quite a bit older.
I said that the other night. I was following all the solo nuts auditors park in that private little parking lot by AOLA.
Yeah.
and come out with their briefcase and their thing. And I was like,
Strapped
look,
to them.
there they go. Yeah. And I said, look at them. And when they're pulling in the vans, all these old people are loading up. I was like, there are no young people. So there was one young person backing out in her car. And she looked very familiar. So I need to find out who it was. But I was like, oh my God, wow, there's a young person. Who is this? And I was like, oh, I know. You've been doing, she's been around forever. And I was like, who is she?
Yeah, those
but
names escape.
all of the majority of those people on the OT levels are all older people.
They're
like
all older. Nothing but love. Thank you so much for the super chat. 2 strong, inspiring women making a huge difference. Thank you. Some days feel stronger than others. I will say that. But that's the beauty of this, is there's so many people to pick us up when we fall over. It just seems to be the way that it goes.
So one thing I realized about you is that you're a grandmother, right?
Yep.
Are you're a great grandmother or a grandmother?
No, my darling.
How old is your
Just a
how
grandma.
old is your oldest granddaughter? Or granddaughter.
My grandkids are 6 and 2, and I proudly call them the first generation of never ends in my family. Because they are
Nice.
the first ones to be born in 4 generations that will never know Scientology. All they'll know, eventually they'll get old enough to go on YouTube one day, and they're going to
Mhm.
see everything that Grandma talked about, and they're going to hear my entire story. And I'm sure it's going to be very surprising to them because they're not growing up with any of that. That's the beauty of it. And I think about this sometimes as a parent who, depending on how, I always say, I pretty much consider myself a second generation Scientologist because of my mother. But when my mom married into that family, my grandpa, who later became my stepdad, grandpa dad, would make me a third generation Scientologist. But really, because of my mom, I always say I'm second generation. My kids were third. And it takes, in a way, in a generation, you can change a lot. And this is true in Scientology, and it's true outside of it. And there's things I did differently with my children when I was raising them. Even though I was a Scientologist, I would have liked to do things more differently, not be in Scientology at all. But my children, who are now adults, they are raising children not in any way that has anything to do with Scientology. So it's very different. And I love that. Lisa, thank you so much for the super chat. We never end our following and loving you. Hugs.
I was going to
Feel it
also
and love you
say
back.
I really wanted to just validate you, because hearing how you talk and the depth of being a mother, that's what I was getting to, of being a mother, but then also being now a grandmother and being able to, I just can't imagine. I don't know if I'm ever going to have children. I don't think I will, So I just can't imagine. I mean, I can only imagine how great it is to have you as a mother and to have you as a grandmother in your own family, and to have the knowledge you have now. That was really
Exactly.
good.
I love that. Every time we would do a service in Scientology, at the end of it, you would go to the examiner and you'd have to write a success story. And the question you would get is, would you like someone else to achieve? What was it? Would you like someone else
Would
to
you like
achieve the
others
gains
to
that
have
you now have?
Yeah, would you like others to achieve the knowledge, or would you like others to have the knowledge you now have? No, there's something about knowledge. And then the second one is, would you like others to achieve the gains that you've had?
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. They
Your
ask you that
needle's
after every
floating.
service at the examiner, or when you're attesting to something. Would you like others to have the knowledge? Exactly. So along
Yeah.
those lines. And I feel that way about having left Scientology. I want people in Scientology to experience what
What
I
you
do
have.
now, to
Yeah.
have the
Same.
freedom to know
Same.
what it's like to be able to make your own calls on things, to make your own choices, and
Mhm.
and not just people who are in Scientology. Anyone, if you're in your life and you feel like you're not calling the shots, you got to take a look around and see what needs to be changed. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? So there's something that needs to change. And in my experience, it usually involves me, the person, because we can't change so much of what's around us, but we can change how we show up, where we put our
Right.
attention, and what we focus on. And
For
that
me,
is something that I want people to have.
that to me was a big thing. I feel what you give out and what you're talking about on your channels and stuff, and with Aaron and everybody, you give a mother side. There's nobody doing this. Tell me one person right now that has children on SPTV community that are talking about the deep empathy and everything that we missed out on as children. I mean,
Yeah.
Liz Gale, and I'm just saying it's very rare, and to hear it, it sounds awkward or so lovey and whiny instead of being like, no, love is beautiful, and to take care of yourself is so beautiful, and to feel uncomfortable is beautiful. Like,
Yeah, that's
it was
something I
always
think we get
wrong.
used to. Exactly, it was. And I didn't grow up where there was like hugs and kisses. It was all
Right.
contact assist and be quiet if you get hurt. And to have my children and have that change, but it's still, it was like my sister was in therapy for a long time. And I remember part of her therapy, she came to me and she's like, I'm just going to start hugging you. Because it's just not something that we did, funny because I would see
Oh.
friends and then I would hug my friends, but not my family because that's not what we did. I did hug my children. I was always very physical with my children or my partner, but then that's, or then friends. But there was something about my family because you didn't grow up seeing them that way. They were more comrades, right? You were more
Yeah.
working.
Or that it was not okay that we relied on emotion at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually distracting to rely on your emotions. So the TRs, the training drills, all these things are manipulative tactics to numb and ruin your emotional, empathetic side, especially if we're children. I'm surprised, Natalie, that we're not psychotic serial killers
Girl, I think that every day.
or worse. Like, I'm like, how did my brain not go the other way and just go nuts?
I think that says a lot because often it takes when you go through a lot of different trauma, sometimes it takes a while for it to happen and it goes on for a while. So it makes sense that it would take a while to untangle it. But this has been my experience. What I have noticed is that when people show up with love, it just melts all that shit. It just melts it.
Yeah.
And that's something I've experienced with my partner, with different friends, people I've gotten to know outside of Scientology. And it's almost like this quicker way to healing in a way, because it takes a lot of energy to hate and to be angry. And the question I get a lot is, do you have a lot of animosity or hate towards Scientology? I don't feel like that describes it for me. And I also think it depends on the day.
I
Because
was going to say there are
sometimes,
moments where it's
yeah,
like, boosh, and I'm like, I hate.
yes,
It's not even hate.
absolutely.
It's so deep, dark anger. Like,
Yeah.
it's disappointment. It's unbelievable, like, disappointment of like, how did this happen? Why is this allowed? How did the community, how does the world allow this? And then you go, oh, I'm so glad I'm out. Okay, what's the next move?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes time. And I feel that people who leave Scientology, they leave in different ways for different reasons. And you're figuring out so much of who you are versus your Scientology indoctrination. And I think it's important to remember we are all still who we are, right? We just maybe strip away some cult mentality, but people will still be very different. Some people will be great and wonderful and have lots of love. Some people will be complete a-holes just because that's just who they are with or without Scientology. It's not every single thing that's wrong with us or that one would consider to be an outpoint or need to be changed is because of the cult. It's a lot of it. It's very habit forming. You definitely pick up some bad habits, but it's different for everyone going through and we also all went through something different. There's commonalities there, but still very different in ways. And I think it's true. And I think it's the same way with people out too, who've never been in. So here's a question. Do you think most of the leaders in Scientology have narcissism?
1000%. Scientology teaches in its behaviors and in L. Ron Hubbard's disgusting rhetoric, as Serge likes to say. I love that word for L. Ron Hubbard's crap.
I could just listen to Serge just say words all day. I love how he's
we're working on a Serge track where it's just,
I love it.
Literally.
I love it. And I think you're right. I think David Miscavige for sure, I would qualify as a narcissist. They say that
but Scientology, because it takes away.
Yeah.
What is a narcissist? Somebody who can't feel, who doesn't have, who like they're very, you know what I mean? They're like, that is what Scientology is creating you to be. and you don't realize it until you leave Scientology, your forms of narcissism. So yeah, it may be there are chances that when you leave Scientology, you can lose that narcissism behavior because you teach yourself, oh wow, I was taught this narcissism behavior. But like somebody like David Miscavige is completely narcissistic. Like I don't see David Miscavige changing that.
Me neither. With Your Shield is asking, Laura, have you connected with non-Scientologist family members?
I've tried.
In what way?
I'm still trying. I tried with some family members and they don't want to ruin the connection they have, whatever that is, with my mom and whatever that is with my dad.
Are these family members are they in Scientology?
My mom is in the Sea Org and at the Gold Base, Int Base still for the last 45, 50 years or however long. I don't know. Maybe I'm over. That just feels like my whole life now. And then my dad is, as you know, down in the galley in the dishwashing at the AOLA building. And the rest of my family is in Canada or Toronto. My sister's still in the Sea Org. I mean, still in Scientology. She's out of the Sea Org now with her husband that she was married to in the Sea Org. And they're probably working on their freeloader bill and lower conditions and all that. But other than that, it's hard even for my non-Scientology family members that were, I was still connected to while I was a Scientologist slightly. They won't, because they know they've been told by my aunt and by my mom, or most likely by my auntie Pat, that I'm out ethics or that I whatever. So they know the rules because they've been seeing this from the outside. Yeah. And so they just don't want to get involved. They're not strong enough to deal with it. And so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Brooke Elliott is asking, she's saying, I believe I heard you can grab attention of Scientologists with music. Laura, I think you said it. I could totally see that. Any way to do a block party and you sing to them?
A block party in Los Angeles has to have a permit of some degree, especially if it's an L. Ron Hubbard block party, L. Ron Hubbard Way block party. I'm sure there's going to be some. But yes, I would love that. I'm down. If people want to put art and stage together, come and ask me to sing. Absolutely, I'm down. I will bring my songs and my music and my band.
Let's do it. I am just Nancy. Natalie, when are you going on a Wednesday night with Aaron to Clearwater? Wednesday night. I think he does it on most nights. I haven't made any plans as of yet. I've thought about it. I do feel like Clearwater would be more my speed than Los Angeles. I'm not sure I'm ready to go back yet. It's on my list. I want to go. Like we were saying earlier, it's much more difficult to go back to the place.
Yeah, you said I'm not ready to go back yet. What are you thinking of when you say that? Like, what is it quickly that you're not ready to see the buildings or feel the feelings?
It's just the first time. It's taking off the Band-Aid.
This is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
This is what you were saying. But the fear is a lie. That's the thing. The fear is you go there and it's like, I don't know if you've ever done mushrooms, but once you're on them and you're like, oh, this is amazing. No, it's me. And it's just like the fear is alive and you're going, oh my God, how come I haven't been doing this earlier? And oh my God, this is giving me so much strength. So I'm just saying that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We gotta keep working on me.
If you do go, how long would that be hard? How long? Wow. I'm trying to ask you 5 questions at once. My brain hurt. How long does it take you to get to Clearwater?
Probably, I think maybe 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. I haven't flown to Florida in a while, and it's about 4 hours to Los Angeles. I'm in Minnesota, so I'm right in the middle.
Okay, yeah.
Right in the middle. Right. I mean, and honestly, Clearwater appeals more because I like the beaches better. But if I'm true honesty is, it's harder for me to go back to the blue buildings because I haven't done it yet, which means that's probably the one that I should do. Mm-hmm. Go and show up there.
Do you need me to buy you a plane ticket and meet you here? Do you need me to let you know when the next one is? Because they're happening every night now, so you'll get used to it quick. You could crash for a few nights and see how you feel.
Yeah, it is something even my Tony has brought up. He's like, we could go together.
I'll be right there with you.
You'll be there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people going in February. So
the 24th. Yes. So if you do that,
it's something that I've
support.
Yeah, that I've entertained. It's, then just work it. There's a lot of
I
details to
think
work
people
out,
need to hear
but
you and see you and feel somebody that has been through this in many forms and has children and is very like open. You're very open emotionally and intelligent about it. Like I think it teaches, like you're teaching me that, there's so much strength in just learning simple things by
yeah,
somebody's growth. Like you've seen them grow and you're going, "Oh my God, I
yeah,
just watched her and now I'm better at that because I realized, oh, that wasn't me either. I don't want to do that."
yeah.
Like, so I think that's the thing we don't realize is when you show up, you're actually there for other people, answering questions. It's so healing. You're going like, "Oh my," you like, so yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
You
It's
forget that you're in fear, like, and then you kind of stand back and you're going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here."
yeah. And I
And then
don't
you're like, "Oh,
think
yeah,
it's
what?" Answering another question.
when I think about it, it's more like it's not I don't really fear a fear as much as I think it's just that first time. I haven't been
Yeah.
back there since I went to
Yep.
go get my daughter
Yep.
out of there, and it was like and I knew in a way that that was gonna be the last time, like, I'd had it with
Mhm.
at least showing up anymore for services because I was doing my services at that advanced organization in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and so I think it would be really, really healing to have that full circle moment of going back because that's where it happened for me, that's where my sister was, and there's so many bad memories there, and it's sprinkled with a few good ones at the same time. I don't know, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's like
Mhm. And that's where you
both
get
the things
triggered
exist.
when you see people and you're like, "Oh my God, that's," and you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't be yelling at her." And you're like, "Hey, no," Cecilia or whoever, like,
Yeah, or
"You
Roy, seeing
remember
Roy
me? I'm
Rodriguez,
out here." Yes,
seeing Roy
exactly.
on the bike and
Oh, when
seeing
he
that
came
he's
up
still
the other
there.
night, when he came up, they do this, intimidating tactic where they come up real close with their bikes, and I
Uh,
just laughed. I was like, "Oh
yeah,
my God, I used to be afraid of you, Roy." And then
yeah,
I was zooming in on him like, "No more." And,
yeah.
the guy Jacob with me was like, "Yeah, I thought he was gonna just run me over." And I was like, "No, that's what he's checking to see who's here, and he's filming them on his thing, but he can't do anything. He's an old security guard who's literally been doing the same job, so no, he can't
I
do
know, I
anything."
feel so bad, and I have 0 fear about that. I could face a Scientologist, somebody from OSA, anybody anywhere, like Sea Org members. I really don't have a button on that. I'm good with that. I think it's just being in the space again.
Mhm. It
It's
definitely is.
yeah,
Smelling, the smells, there's a lot of things you're like, "Oh, wow, wow, wow." Yep. Yeah,
and the feelings
100%.
of feeling so trapped because it was in those blue buildings that I felt
It's like
so
you're going back
stuck.
to, yeah, you're going back to jail. And
Jail,
you're like, "Am
yeah,
I gonna
that's what
get
it feels
stuck? Am
like.
I gonna get locked in here?" Yeah.
Exactly. Are they gonna grab me? No, they're
Yeah,
not. I mean, my
but the feeling's
nightmares now
there.
are few and far between. Yeah.
Yep.
Like I'm not having as much. It was for years. It was the nightmares of them coming to get me. And the worst of the nightmares when if I would agree to go back. That's what made it worse. That's why I think it'll be really good. The
Sometimes I'm like, I'm in my dream, I'm like, what did I at what point did I say, "Okay? How did I get back
How
here?"
did I get here?
Yeah,
Exactly.
like, I don't even remember agreeing to being back, and I'm like, "Why am I in uniform? Oh my God, okay, how can I
Oh my
get out?"
God, uniform. My nightmares didn't get as far to being in uniform. It was usually I was
I would
back and
look
then
down
putting
and I would
made
be
to
in
work.
uniform. That's how I know. I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm back in the Sea Org. How did this happen?"
Wow. The Bali songs question: do you think there are people in OSA watching this who were having doubts about Scientology, like Tori Magoo, who started to see what was happening and knew it was wrong? Yes, I think so. I know that when
Mhm.
I was doing as an everyday public Scientologist, I had done some PR work for Scientology and I was being exposed, to some hate about L. Ron Hubbard and questions about the church. Yes, it definitely contributed to me. That's why they don't let you do that usually.
Yeah, that's why they have to have these long-term dedicated.
Yeah.
They have people. That's how gross OSA is, guys. This is how sick this is. They have people in there that watch this stuff. They know it's happening and they've altered it in their mind. I'm just recording this and keep track of all this nasty things they're saying to give to, send up to these people, but it has nothing to do. They're not judging. They're no longer making their own judgments. They're no longer thinking for themselves. They're
Yeah.
just going, here's the data. I'm turning it off. They did this. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to spam them this. We're going to call all these accounts. You know that they canceled all of, they shut down a bunch of the Squirrel Squad YouTube's accounts last night because of the Flag Is Here Scientology song that they had only playing on repeat for the 3 hours straight.
That must have, can you imagine the outside security that was hired, like the police officers there having to
No,
listen to
we
that
asked them, they
song?
were like, this is insane. And it's really bad.
Tell me this about the police officers there specifically. It really seemed when I was watching the
Gross.
live streams that some of them really were like, "Look, I'm here because I have to be."
No,
There's
no.
they were definitely
They
like,
are paid by
mhm.
Scientology paid them a chunk of money to the LAPD, and they paid them a chunk of money for these off-duty cops. They're
So they can
literally
wear
like
their
rent-a-cops.
uniform when they're
'Cause
doing
they're
outside work like that?
exactly, yes, of course, and they use it to have that authority, to have, like, what is an undercover, it's unbelievable. So, they're paid by Scientology paid the LAPD separately. This is gross, guys. This is money that Scientology can just go, "Oh, we're not paying them individually. We're just paying the LAPD to do this task, and we're using off-duty officers." What does that mean? You're paying these cops individually. So anyways, literally I filmed them. We filmed those cops so much. But what I did is I muted every time I was going near that Flag Is Here song. It was driving me
Yeah,
crazy. But
yeah.
also I was like, they're doing this to mess up everybody. And I kept telling all them, but the thing is you kind of just have to go at it as these live streaming, and you're there, you're in the moment, you're going through, you just have to kind of, for me, I was like, all right, I need to get whatever I need. I just visually need to have it on video. So, there's a bunch of them. You can see there's a bunch of the TikTokers and every try getting up on the cops, getting their serial numbers, getting their emails, asking them why they think this is okay. Do you know that the human trafficking and that they disregard their elderlies and don't give permission to children to be children and da da da. They're just like they're being paid by Scientology. So, these cops were uncomfortable. They should be. Like, your family needs to know that your extra money is being paid by Scientology to do these gross things. And you think this is a religion? Like, so if they're not going to see it for themselves, we're going to make their family see it. We're going to put them out. So that's the best way to do it, because if they're there to be respectful and to be a family and to be a service of people and to be this good human, police officer, then be one. And if you're not,
Mhm.
we're going to just show exactly what you're doing, just like we're doing with the Scientologist.
So what's next?
Literally, I will probably be at Big Blue in a few hours. I'm going to schedule it. I got to do some laundry and things that I have not done, but I'm going to go do another little protest. So I'll be up there, and we're going to keep doing this, and everybody coming in and new people coming out of the Sea Org and finally coming up and speaking out about Scientology, and even having more people like Anon. I call him Anon. Anon.
Mhm.
Because of Aaron, and every time he pops on, but I'm sure he'll watch this. But having people under the radar, like Anon and the masked people, and great, because it's showing that whatever outlet anybody needs to get out, whether it's harsh, whether it's, oh my God, she just said that, I can't believe, but it's true. Like, there's gonna be everybody, but the problem is Scientology. So I think
Yeah.
what's next is exactly what we're doing. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep exposing. We're going to keep answering people's questions. We're going to have some ups and downs in terms of dealing mentally and emotionally with people who are purposely trying to interrogate us and trying to attack us to get us to stir up. So we just getting stronger and exposing. I think that's the whole thing. And having, good people like Jacob Harkey here.
Yep,
Be
he's got a
there and
super chat for you. Join late but watching on 2 times speed to catch up. Loving this chat. Rock on and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Jacob. You too. Jacob is awesome. He's been there for many of the protests, and he's learning a lot about Scientology. He's like got a sponge for this, and he's very like, and what would you say he's very like matter of fact, and okay, good. And how do they, like, he's very interview. He's really, you guys go follow him on YouTube.
That'll be
Jacob
fun.
Harkey.
Shelly, yes, Shelly, thank you so much for the super chat. Take back all that Church of Scientology has stolen from you. You have the support and love. You are one beautiful, strong woman, Nat. Nothing but love for you both. Thank you, Shelly.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get out there and need to sell a couple houses. Then we'll maybe we'll turn it into a vacation and do more. I hear there's other things. You know what's funny is Tony used to travel to not far from where the base is, not far from Pac Base. This was way before we ever knew each other. And he didn't know hardly anything about Scientology. And then when I lived in Seattle, when I got sent there because I refused to terminate my pregnancy, he was there working nearby where Scientology was. We've always been within a few blocks of each other for years without ever
Oh.
meeting each other until we did. And I know that, so he'll ask me like, oh, did you ever do this or see this or see that when you were in LA? I'm like, no. I was in the blue buildings all the time. What was there to see? Although I did go to Disneyland and a couple things.
As a
but-
reward, right? As a
Mhm.
reward, or with the LOA approved CSW for family or whatever.
Exactly. Or I went afterwards
Lives.
when I was a parishioner going to, and then, that made a big difference.
Right.
Yep,
Because
and
you
then-
had never gone to Disneyland before.
Exactly. Yeah. So Shawnee has a super chat for you. Keep going, proud SP.
Thank you, darling. That's what I am. A proud SP.
Drifter Shelley has a question. Do you think that protesters would reach more people if they had more signs about what is being protested?
Totally. It's just, guys, it's hard. Let me tell you my difficulty. Okay. I have a camera, because the one thing to do these days when you are protesting is have a camera on you, have your phone on, just in case, especially if you're really, being like a Chris without a Hellcat and, right at their door with the microphone during a staff meeting and stuff. Like so you just, but I think a sign, proud SP, I was telling you, was my first sign, because I felt like, okay, you've done this to me. I'm talking to the internal members, right? And then I
Yeah,
realized
yeah.
that this sign has more than just me talking to the internal members. This sign is asking other people outside. Other people are asking me, what is an SP? What's proud?
Yeah.
What I know what proud is. What are you proud of?
Yeah.
Proud gay, proud this. People are like, what's SP? What
Yeah.
the heck? And I'm all dressed in yellow. There's a reason for all this, because every step and walk I'm moving and taking, whether it's on the media or filming or whatever, or the sign that says proud SP, and then on the other side it says disconnection, elderly abuse, child neglect equals Scientology. So
Yeah.
whatever signs, signs are important, but signs like Xenu blah 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 is honestly, even though we like it, look at me, I'm a hypocrite. But if for the members inside, it's not going to do much, but the signs might do, a Xenu sign might do something for somebody driving by that knows nothing, that might go, what's Xenu? And look it up. This will bring up Scientology. And they're like, oh, my Scientology.
Yeah.
So it does promote it. All the signs, all the things we're wearing, everything we're doing does promote it. Do it in your way. Don't be aggressive. Like, don't be physically aggressive in any way.
Mhm.
Just hold your ground until, if you need to defend yourself. I'm not saying don't defend yourself. I'm just saying, in mental words, just be proud that we finally have a voice and we're able to speak, and we learned our amendments now. We've learned that this is actually a normal human right to be able to do this. Anything like this can be done anywhere. It shouldn't feel threatful.
Yeah,
So,
that's a new concept to some of us, human rights.
Very
that
much.
What we
That's like-
actually have rights to do.
and the cops
definitely.
and the authorities still not being on our side when they should in times is also like a new concept. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
things are supposed to be a certain way and they're not.
Yep. Jovi Girl's asking, will the squad get their videos back to post them? So the ones that got brought down.
I think all they need to do is mute the whole things. That's how I think that'll work. But
And then they can put the
but
videos
what
back
is
up.
amazing is they shut down their accounts.
Yep, that's true when they do that.
I think they shut down their live stream accounts. So they have to go through a whole thing to undo, because what they did is they had a lot of people in OSA send copyright strikes and complaints. And when you get more than 3 strikes on your thing, once they see, because of the Scientology song, if somebody did that to me and said, oh, you have a Lara FM song, your YouTube's not going to get taken down. They're going to let me know. And I have to say, attack them. So exactly. There's supposed to be a whole talking about it, but because because every video had their music in it, which they purposely did. They had that song on repeat for a reason.
I'm surprised it took them that long to figure it out, because I was thinking that early on, but I wasn't about to say it on a live, but I was thinking, Like that,
'Cause
they
they're
figured they figured
They
it
don't
out.
know the
Yeah, because they're
outside world.
ding dongs.
So now,
No.
but what I think what could happen is those all the footage and everything will go up. I think, I mean, in the end with disputes or whatever, they can just remove the audio.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
certain parts of Chris without a Hellcats video and things like that, he can edit it. He's really good at that stuff. So I'm sure these guys are good. They'll figure it out.
They will. Lisa, thank you so much for the super chat. Scientology for us never ends is witnessing your clear-headed stories and honest recounting. As a mother, Laura, Natalie, we extend our never ends collective mother love. I love that. Please know how much you are making a difference. Thank you. I feel that way about everybody else, about all of you showing up for this. Doesn't matter what they are putting speakers facing out towards the public to copyright them, but once outside away from the buildings, isn't that public domain?
Music is music.
Yeah.
Music is written and copyrighted and owned. So they purposely do that. But I do have to say, I did move their speaker majority of the time back into when they were all so busy with the cops. I was like, I just turned the speaker back into the building like 5 times. So
Here's a
funny.
question for you from Aaron. Why the yellow?
Because when you get excommunicated or declared from Scientology, you're declared a suppressive person. And when they print it or they print any sort of major ethics situation, it's always printed on this bright goldenrod. It's called goldenrod. And they even call that in the Sea Org, she got a goldenrod on her, which means they're declared an SP. Or they've got a ComEv or something, but they print it on this bright goldenrod paper so that everybody in the organization and everybody across Scientology knows, some major ethics action has just happened. And they look and it says, Megan Anderson has been declared a suppressive person. So they go, I can never speak to her again. So they make it very obvious with this color that a very permanent order or something by ethics HEO has been. So now I'm like, hey, I'm a proud SP. Come
That's
again.
right. I love owning it and taking back all of the things that they told us were horrible. And then they label you as it. And now they just got to be hating that we're like, yeah, proud SP, SPTV.
Literally. Literally. It's
All right.
so organic and great.
It is. We're going to wrap it up. You have a protest to get to. Hang for a second, Laura. Everybody, thank you so much for being here, for supporting these channels, for getting the message out. Please make sure you subscribe to both our channels. Check that subscribe button. Appreciate all of you. And most of all, get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.